back to my YouTube channel. This is Kate. Hopefully you all know me by now. If you're new to my channel, this is me. Today, I'm doing part 2 of the 4-part series around adapting and modifying your behaviour to win more clients. Essentially, that is what it's all about, isn't it, guys? Yes, this is very business development focused and very client focused, but one thing I will say is that you can still take this information and use it for the candidate side of your job. I'm just making it relative to our clients. Today, I'm covering off the second type of behavior or profile that we might see in our clients. And we term this in DISC as I or eyes. We're using the color yellow to describe these guys. And we use words like influential, impulsive, impressionable, informal, interested in people, imaginative. You might notice in this video that I've gone outside of my normal branding, as with the last video, and I'm using the colour yellow for a lot of the wording so it really resonates with you, which I probably should have thought about in a bit more detail before I picked my hoodie for today, because it's really going to clash with the yellow, but never mind. I obviously don't care about what I look like in most of the videos anyway, so why does it matter today? But as I'm going through, do start and think about your current client base, or maybe some of the prospective clients that you're trying to win, and think about if they're displaying some of these characteristics already. Some of those words might already resonate. You might think, oh God, I'm already thinking of somebody that's really imaginative or very informal. So to put a bit of perspective around this, these are the types of people that are very glass half full. They are very expressionable. They use their hands a lot when they're talking. They're very tactile. They're very informal with you from the get-go. So if you're reaching out to these types of clients, what won't work is you being too formal with them. They just will not like it. In terms of communication, they love to talk. They love being around people. Not so much over email. You know, admin type tasks do not excite them. They're not drawn to it. These are the types of people that if you pick that phone up, they are much more likely to engage with you that way or organise a meeting than an email or a LinkedIn message. They'll probably see the message come through and think, oh, I'll read that later and forget. Or they'll read it and get drawn to something else and not reply. So you're much better trying to verbally have a chat with them. They do need things to feel fun and they need variety. So they want an engaging, fun chat with you that's upbeat. They don't want it to be negative and boring. If you're going to go and meet somebody like this for a relatively long meeting and you're going to pose lots of facts and figures and data, they're going to get bored and they're not going to pay attention, and they're probably going to try and change the lay of the land in the meeting to make it something that they want to do. And that brings me on to my next point. These guys are very influential, very good at persuading people to their way of thinking without you even realising it. Very good at getting their own way. Sometimes we need to be in control, don't we? So we need to bear that in mind. If you're trying to engage with a new client, maybe there is internally quite a big hierarchy, so a lot of decision makers that you need to win over. If you can identify the client with I in their profile, I would be trying to win them over first. They can have a massive value to an organisation because of their ability to influence and persuade others. And actually, they're great at motivating others because they're so positive. So what you want to bear in mind is that at any point, they can motivate and influence others to like you and to be on board with working with you, or for it to go completely the other way. Because if they like you, they will be good at getting everyone else to like you. They're very verbal, but if they like something, they'll talk about it a lot. If they don't like something, they can be quite dramatic about it and talk about that a lot as well. But sometimes we will have to email them. There's some really important things to remember around here that will otherwise trip you up. Eyes, as I mentioned already, aren't so great with admin. They don't want to be sitting at a computer or just reading endless emails. So we need to be careful about how we word things, how we structure it, but also how we make sure that they actually are paying attention to them, because it is important sometimes. What you want to remember is, like the D's that we've gone over in the last video, they do prefer bullet points. If you send them a long email with paragraphs of information, they're going to take one look at that and think, boring, and not read it, or not read it properly. Keep it short and sweet in bullet points, but what will go down well is things like emojis, things that bring that email to life. Maybe try different colour text, sometimes that can work. Also, remember the niceties, because they're very social people and they care about relationships. What you don't want to do is be too direct. So we talked about with the D's, get to the point, avoid the fluff. I's are very different to that. Make sure you've got things like, how's your week gone? Or how was your weekend? Or if you know they're going away, have a great holiday, catch up with you when you're back. The informal rapport building type parts of an email are very important to them, so make sure you include that. Once you've sent that email, even if you get a read receipt, it does not mean they've properly read it. Eyes are very attracted to new and shiny things. So they might see your email and start reading it and think, right, this is actually really important, I must reply. And then something else comes into their email that looks more exciting. Or they get somebody come to their desk and say, oh, should we go to lunch now? Or let's have that meeting and chat about this exciting new project. And they're gone. So what you want to make sure you do, say you've sent a candidate CV and they haven't responded, make sure that you're following up. So follow up with them. Did you get my email? What did you think of the candidate? Even have you had a chance to read my email yet? What did you think? You might need a couple of follow-ups to get them to engage and get an answer out of them. If they don't respond to your initial email, it can be very easy to think, oh, they're not interested in the candidate. But actually, they could have just been distracted, and it's purely down to that. And after that, talk to them about that candidate. Make sure they've absorbed the information in the CV, because they could have skim read that. One thing to bear in mind as well, eyes, because they're very glass half full, they like fun, they usually are very smiley, happy, carefree. They can have a tendency to make a joke about everything. Sometimes it's masking something else or like a serious situation. So it can be easy to think that they maybe don't care about something or they're not taking it seriously, but it's their way of bringing a positive atmosphere. They like everyone to get along. They want to be liked, that's one thing as well. Just be aware that sometimes if you feel like your client isn't taking something seriously, it might be that they know it's serious, but they're trying to make light of it. And sometimes it's you sharing that sense of humour as well. It's just being aware of not taking it the wrong way. I talked about earlier, they can be quite dramatic. So something small could happen that annoys them. They'll tell everyone about it. They'll blow up about it. They'll talk about it for ages, but they get over it so quickly. It's like, what was that such a big deal about? So if you're recognising that a prospective client has this as part of their behavioural profile, they may overreact at times, and it's not to take it to heart, and they will get over it very quickly. I think it's important as well to know that eyes tend to like to solve problems verbally. We all know we come across problems in recruitment, issues that need to be solved and talked about, depending on what type of project we're working on for the client. It can be easy sometimes, depending on our preference, to go straight to an email in that instance, but actually these guys would prefer you to speak about it verbally to them, so you can solve it together and talk through it. It will better your relationship with them. I know we put clients on a pedestal, but they really will value your relationship. It will mean a lot to them, and they will want to be liked by you. Rejection and loss of popularity is not something they find comfortable, but it's actually a bit of a fear of theirs. Even around things like candidates not liking them in an interview. It's worth bearing in mind, and I've seen this happen, when they're interviewing, because they want to be liked by the person, they can go overboard in wanting to be liked and actually miss some red flags with the candidate and care too much about, did they like us, do they like me? We need to make sure that they've had a great experience, and be too soft in interviews in a way, not getting to the nitty-gritty and probing, making it too fun and just a nice relaxed chat. So when it comes to us as consultants, we need to consult with them on the recruitment process. So it's worth listening out to the feedback from your candidates, but also investigating how they recruit normally, because it may be that they need to be more structured and formal to get the most out of the candidate and to make sure they're hiring properly. They're really motivated by praise, recognition, and things being fun, as I mentioned. So it's sometimes about blowing smoke up their arse. They love to get praise verbally. They like to be the centre of attention sometimes, to be honest, as well. So if you are trying to win them over, it is about really bigging up, well, this is amazing what you've done, and say you go in for a visit, really making them feel special. That can work really, really well. Now, I have seen this with clients that have I in their profile that I've worked with through my business, because they don't like to upset others. They don't like to disappoint. When you're addressing a point with them where they probably have done something wrong, they have a tendency to blame others. They don't want you to be disappointed in them. They don't want to have done something wrong. It comes from a good place. It's not vindictive. So they kind of have a tendency to say, oh, well, that wasn't me that did that in the interview. That was someone else. Or, but the candidate did this. You've got to get the two sides of the story. It can be easy sometimes to take what our clients say is gospel, blame the candidate, and maybe never work with them again. But actually, it could be something the client has done, but they're afraid to maybe admit that they've done it wrong. Ultimately, if you're trying to create a partnership with them, they are going to want to see that in the long term, they're going to enjoy working with you, It's going to be a relationship that they can value. They're going to have fun. They're going to get on with you. You've got things in common. You can chat. They're going to want to actually meet you. They're going to really value social interaction, face-to-face contact. And in terms of communication, they want to be more creative, positive, imaginative, no limits. We can achieve anything together. They're those types of visionary thinkers. I've covered this off in a very much a snapshot video. I could, like with all of the behaviours, go on and on and on for days and days and days about this, but I'm not going to bore you with a 20-hour video. But start to have a think. What are the things that have resonated today? What clients do I think have these behaviours? And how can I adapt and modify to suit their needs? If there's more that you want to learn about DISC, please contact me. If anything doesn't make sense in this video, please also contact me. Connect with me via commenting on my videos or LinkedIn. You can definitely reach out to me that way. Email as well. This has been such a pleasure doing this video for you today. I'm loving doing this DISC series. Keep an eye out for part 3 and 4, which will follow shortly. And I will see you very, very soon. Bye.